Constitution, if we may, right here. And let's look at our Bill of Rights, and you tell me if any of this is under attack today. The First Amendment. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion, or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech or of the press, or the right of the people peaceably to assemble and to petition the government for a redress of grievances. Well, first of all, free speech is clearly under attack. The government has been working with big tech and the big oligarchs from the Silicon Valley. The government has also putting out propaganda endlessly, and it's been doing this for 100 years, but it's really come to a pinnacle today, hasn't it? What else? A well-regulated militia, Second Amendment, being necessary to the security of a free state. The right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. And yet we have a president and a Democrat Party that seek to infringe it every week by executive order, by legislation, by propaganda, any way they can. Let's move on. The Third Amendment. No soldier shall in time of peace be quartered in any house without the consent of the owner, nor in time of war, but in a manner to be proscribed by the law. The Fourth Amendment. The right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated, and no warrants shall be issued but upon probable cause supported by oath or affirmation, and particularly describing the place to be searched and the persons or things to be searched. This amendment was violated the other day when Mar-a-Lago, judge, a master, if you will, signing off on a warrant that was prepared by the Department of Justice, an outrageous assault on a former president and likely candidate for president again against the very administration that raided his home. And for what? The Fifth Amendment. No person shall be held to answer for a capital or otherwise infamous crime unless on a presentment or indictment of a grand jury, except in cases arising in the land or naval forces and so forth, may not be deprived of life, liberty, or property without due process of law, nor shall private property be taken for the public use without just compensation. We have people rotting in a jail in Washington, D.C. who haven't seen the inside of a courtroom yet, and they're rotting there on minor misdemeanors, on parading and trespassing. I'm not talking about violent rioters. I'm talking about everyday citizens, a 69-year-old grandmother who's receiving cancer treatments given 60 days. While up in New York City and most of our other cities, people are brutalizing. People are arrested 100, 150, 200 times in the front door, out the back door. You might say that's because we have two systems of justice. No, we have one system of justice. It's injustice. And the application is what's inconsistent, which I'll get to in a minute. There are other parts of the Bill of Rights, but the 10th Amendment, the powers not delegated to the United States by the Constitution nor prohibited by it to the states are reserved to the states, respectively, or to the people. And that is under attack. That's why the Supreme Court constitutional justices are being threatened, and people are now at their homes threatening them, and we have an attorney general who will not enforce federal criminal law against them, and that's where I want to come down here. 2 FBI offices were involved in Washington and South Florida. The U.S. Attorney's Office in Washington, Matthew Graves, a radical Democrat. His wife is a radical Democrat. You don't appoint radical Democrats to the Deputy Attorney General, Associate Attorney General, Assistant Attorney General for the Criminal Division, Assistant Attorney General for the Civil Rights Division, and the U.S. Attorney for the Washington, D.C. District. The National Archives is in that U.S. Attorney's District, as is the January 6th issue. And so we're being manipulated. Our law is being manipulated. We have an attorney general who sues states when he disagrees with their position on abortion, even though the Supreme Court said, and the 10th Amendment says, it's a matter up to the states. They're trying to change voting in the states to accommodate their party so they can keep power and expand their power. So they sue states under phony claims under the Voting Rights Act. They are now issuing subpoenas to state legislatures all throughout the country, including most recently in Pennsylvania. They seized the iPhone of a member of Congress, only Republicans, in violation of separation of powers because they are now criminalizing challenges to presidential electors, criminalizing challenges, which empowers these radicals, this group of political apparatchiks here at the Department of Justice. And they're doing it before the midterm elections, and they're doing it fairly close to the 2024 elections to send a message, ladies and gentlemen. That's exactly what they're doing. Now, what do they want? I wrote a book called American Marxism for a reason. Now, let's look.